we're doing this again. So here I'm back, and I'm going to be talking about the Canon 2x extender again. And I don't necessarily think I was wrong the first time. It's pretty darn cool, and it gets you pictures and a new perspective on things that you otherwise wouldn't have known about. However, the image quality degradation, and I'll get into specifically why, because I think I know why it's so bad. And I say so bad. It's decent. It's okay. If you need it, you can get it, and it'll look good. Ultimately, however, it's just too bad for me. So for those who maybe didn't see the first video, which is most of you probably, we're talking about the Canon EF Extender 3, the newer one. It's about $460 with the tax included in the price, and I'm selling mine. I'll have a link for the description. Cheaper than that, really good condition. Anyways, the extender works great. It's really cool, but it degrades your image quality. It takes away 2 stops of light in your f-stop, which does not degrade your image quality by itself, but the ISO that you're using to crank your light to try and expose for a shadow, for example, to expose for a shadow, you have to use a lot of ISO because your shutter speed is also really high because you're trying to stabilize your shot. So your ISO cranks up, your image quality tanks. That alone isn't that bad, and I have examples of that I'll probably be throwing up on the screen. I did take some really cool ones that I like, but there's another reason that it's bad. Not only does your ISO degrade your image quality, but when you actually crop in on the picture, which is how this thing works, right? Your lens sits on this end, and the light comes in, hits this, and this extender chooses like the middle of your shot, and it blows it up to your sensor, which is over here, right? And that zooms in by a measurable distance, but it also is like cropping your image before you've taken it, which alone can be totally fine. If your ISO is low enough, that works beautifully. I have images of that too, things that I really liked. But if you're trying to shoot somewhere that isn't bright, the combination of those 2 factors is going to just demolish your image quality, and it hurts because like this thing is really cool and we want it to work. I do think there are people that it can work for. Fast, long lenses like a 400 2.8, maybe even a 400 f4 if you're shooting in daylight a lot. But for my 70 to 200, which can be great, I have the same pictures that I probably put up earlier that were sharp. They're all with the 70 to 200. They can be really awesome, but I run into issues when I'm exposing for shadow areas or areas that just aren't dark, or aren't light rather. When I'm exposing for areas that just aren't light, it runs into issues. So I got a replacement, and I'm planning on selling this one right here. And I mean, I'll tease this because I'm going to talk about this completely separately. The replacement is insane. All right, I'll just get it real quick. Hold up, it's right here. This, which I will talk about separately in a whole nother video rather, is a Tamron lens, and it is insane. I actually like really dig it. I've only used it a couple times, so maybe it's like the honeymoon, right? But it's really awesome, and I'll go over why it's so awesome, at least in this. Why I prefer the lens, this Tamron third-party lens, my first third-party lens, by the way, over the Canon, is because with the lens, the aperture is already at 5.6 or 6.3. It's variable aperture. So you run into a similar ISO issue. But I bring my 26 megapixels with me when I crop in. I have my full sensor for me right there. But with the 7200, I'm cropping, and I still have to crank the ISO because I'm at 5.6. So it sucks. This is a $1,200 option, which I got mad cheap on eBay by used lenses, or this is your $460 option. it hurts to say that it doesn't quite work as well as I wanted it to, but I guess it kind of depends on you. That's kind of my wrap up with this thing. It's really cool, and it can work for people who have longer lenses and long fast lenses and who are not going to be shooting into the dark, who don't need to worry about exposing for, you know, a shadow area. I was focusing on tigers a lot at the zoo, and they were always hiding in the bushes, and the hunting, oh my gosh, the autofocus on this thing slows it down a lot. Not unbearably so, but that is also a thing. But yeah, the tigers in the bushes, you try and expose for them, and you get a picture that looks alright. Or you can get that, and it looks great. You know, it's kind of hard to pick the alright over the great at this point, so I'm going to be selling it. And again, if you want to buy it, it'll be down below, because we can like pass the eBay fee if people use the link. Yeah, thanks for stopping by to hear my unfortunate news about this thing. It's kind of sad to see it go, but it feels right, I think. I'll definitely have some reviews out on the Tamron, and I'll probably even go over like an actual image comparison when I get some more images going with it, and while I still have this, I can make some actual comparisons. And then I'm also going to be talking about a macro lens soon, because that's kind of its own bundle of joy that I don't know about. I don't know if it's too joyful or not. But nonetheless, thank you very much for stopping by. Go ahead and subscribe and like if you'd like to. If you have any questions about the extender, I'll try my best to answer them in the comments. But otherwise, I'll see you around.